Hello and welcome back to Space City X-Files, everyone. The podcast that delves deep into the unknown, the unexplained, and the unforgettable. I'm your host, Rick. As you know, I'm back. And today, we have a particularly intriguing tale to tell you. Let me set the scene for you. Imagine a frosty December night in the 1994 good old 90s in Trumbull County, Ohio. The quiet hum of the evening is pierced by the ringing of 911 calls. Citizens report a strange, low-flying object in the sky, not behaving like anything they've ever seen before. Skeptical, yet still respectful, the local police are like, alright, we'll go check this out. We're going to be cool about this, expecting to see nothing more than perhaps a rogue aircraft or some atmospheric anomaly. You know, that good old swamp gas that the FBI likes to throw around, right? So, they expect to see just some of that. Some of the same old, right? But what followed was anything but ordinary. Over the course of the night, officers from various departments across the county reported encounters with the inexplicable. A bright, silent object hovering in the sky, moving at incredible speeds, seemingly defying the laws of physics as we understand them. In this episode, we're journeying back to those bewildering early morning hours, weaving together eyewitness accounts, attempting to uncover the truth buried in the uncertainty. Was it a misidentified military craft, an extraordinary atmospheric event, or something far more unexplainable? What's special about this case also is that we got over 50 minutes of real-time, as the event was happening, talk or radio chatter from the police department of various departments in that area that night. All right. Now, we can't play the whole thing because it's 50 minutes, but we're going to play bits and pieces of it that we thought, stood out the most. But the link's going to be in the show notes. You don't want to miss this one. So after the show, be sure to go check that out because you're going to want to hear the whole thing. I promise you. All right. Grab your headphones, turn down the lights, and hold on to your skepticism. This is Space City X-Files, episode 39, The Enigma. That is the Trumbull County UFO incident. Before we continue with our investigation into this UFO tale, we'd like to take a moment to express our gratitude to all our dear listeners. At Space City X-Files, we strive to provide the best possible experience by keeping our episodes free of commercials and ads. We rely on your support to help us grow and reach more people who share our passion for uncovering the mysteries of the unknown. If you enjoyed today's episode, we kindly request that you just take a few little bitty minutes to leave us a review on the platform that you're listening on. You can leave a written review. If you can't leave a written review, just hit that 5-star. And for some reason, if you can't do either of those, you know what? This episode is going to be posted up on our social media account. Yeah, just go over there and just hit share to your feed. We love you, and we would appreciate you if you did that for us. Your feedback is invaluable in spreading awareness about the show and attracting those new listeners that we need. Additionally, if you would like to make a monetary contribution, you want to throw a little change to us to support the program, you can visit our website and click on the Support Us tab. Every donation we receive goes directly towards enhancing the quality and furthering our dream of doing what we love to do full time, which is put out strange stuff that you just love and can't get enough of. We appreciate your consideration and ongoing support. Your involvement ensures that we can continue to deliver thought-provoking episodes like today's over the Trumbull County UFO incident. Thank you for being a part of the Space City X-Files, and we look forward to bringing you more captivating content in the near future. This will conclude today's announcements. All right, let's begin by hearing the play-by-play of what went down that night, all right? Let me set the scene again for you. So remember, picture this. December 14th, 1994, right? We're in Trumbull County, Ohio. It's a cool night right in the midst of the holiday season. The town settling in for a quiet evening when suddenly the 911 lines start blowing up. It's not the usual chatter, mind you, all right? Earl's not drunk again. He's not trying to drive and his wife's trying to take the keys from him. right? None of that. The residents are phoning in about this strange light bobbing around in the sky, low flying, haphazardly zipping in and around about the whole damn area. Nothing like the airplanes that they're used to seeing, because there is an airfield in the area, all right? But this stood out significantly, all right? Officer Toby Meloro from the Liberty Township Police, he gets a call, and they ask him, Toby, go check this shit out. He's like, all right. So he's probably just thinking, this is just another confused pilot or a helicopter. Somebody got lost, or maybe they're in distress. They need to make a quick landing, or somebody could actually really be in trouble. Okay. So he takes it serious and he takes off. But as he's driving towards the scene, something straight out of a sci-fi movie happens to poor Toby Meloro. His patrol car all of a sudden shuts off. Totally dead. His engine, lights, radio, everything cuts out. Totally dead. All right. So he's like, what the hell? Takes off his seatbelt, steps out, looks up into the sky, and what he sees isn't your ordinary night sky. Now, Toby is on the record saying what he's seen, and in his recount of what happened is just amazing, all right? This thing, this object, this massive object lit up like a Christmas tree, just hanging in the air. No noise, no movement, just sitting there. And in hindsight, this description of what he gave right now, he unknowingly at the time would fit so many other cases that lead all the way up to present day time, right? This big giant object just hanging there, no noise, defying gravity, defying everything that we know about aviation, right? So, what's special about this case, though, is it wasn't just like a little craft, all right? It wasn't an orb. It wasn't anything that was just floating around. He says it's huge. It's huge, like a football field, and shaped like a blimp, man. So a football field is, 100 yards, right? So just imagine that. Something that large, shaped there, glowing, changing colors, and just floating there with no noise. And then as all of a sudden, suddenly as his car died out, and suddenly as everything cut off on him, the object zooms off with unreal speed, but no noise. It just takes off. And just like that, his car is back to life, as if nothing happened. You think that's the end of it. You would think so, right? Nothing else, nothing can top that. But that's not it. That's not it for the night. The calls keep coming in. All right? Throughout the night, officers from all over Trumbull County and other nearby adjoining counties start reporting the same thing. Silent, bright, huge objects popping up, hovering for a bit and just speeding off, or cloaking. I mean, who knows? It could be either one. Some of these guys, like Sergeant Daryl Nelson, even said this UFO was shining a light so bright that it turned, because it was a dark night, turned the whole area around him like if it was broad daylight, right? So as if this visit from a UFO wasn't strange enough, and I'll come flat out and say it was a UFO, because there wasn't no damn plane doing nothing like this, right? There's also this mysterious power outage in the area around the same time, knocks everything out, and then the calls start coming in for that. But when they try to get some answers from the local military and the FAA, it's a big shoulder shrug, right? Nobody knows what's going on. What are you guys talking about? Our electricity is just fine, right? The Air Force swears up and down they had no craft out that night. It wasn't us. And the FAA checks their radar records, and guess what? Nada. Nothing. Not a damn thing. And that's what makes this whole thing really stick out to you. Why would these officers, all these dispatch coordinators from different counties be making this up? Why? It just doesn't make sense. It's not just some blurry photo either, right? This is not just your average, somebody threw a hubcap in the air and took a picture of it as it was falling. Nothing like that. This is not, and this ain't a tall tale from somewhere out in the sticks. This is a major, not major, but it's a rather large city. It's got an airport. It's got all the main, attractions to make a city thrive. It's got all those. The population was up. So this is just not something that, obviously it's not something they see every day over there. And then also we're talking about trained law enforcement officers all over the county. not just officers, but we're talking about fire people, fire, EMS, all seeing the same thing. And the residents, countless calls from the residents saying they've seen the same thing all across the county, right? Plus the car trouble, plus the power outage. I mean, it's like something straight out of an X-Files, episode, right? Like Mulder, he'll be driving, and then whenever they were getting, I guess, abducted or something like that, everything would die out. There would be a big bright light, and he'd wake up and there'd be a time loss. He wouldn't come right out and say it, but that's what he was getting at. And so all of this stuff happening, matching, similar to what an X-Files episode would bring, and yet here we are, still scratching our heads to this day. What could it be? What could it be? I got my own ideas, but I'm not gonna give it to you right now. I got to get through this episode. When we get to the end, I'll share my theory with you. But I mean, I'm a big believer, especially whenever people are having these power outages and loss of time and all that good stuff. So, I guess the question is, was it a visitor from another galaxy? Or was it some kind of top secret military experiment that they just won't own up to? Could it be a private military tech company testing out some new craft, some new weapon? Or maybe they reverse engineered one. I guess the possibilities are endless right now. Well, we can't say for sure, but we're going to go through the details. We're going to go through all the facts of this case, and then maybe this case, along with the others that we cover, will help you determine what you believe. All right? And all this together that we're going to go over is what makes the Trumbull County UFO incident one hell of a mystery and one of the best UFO cases in history, I think, really. So what we're going to do now, I think what we've all been waiting for, before we move on to theories, we're gonna play a little bit of the dispatch correspondence first, all right? And this is going to be covering the officers who responded to the calls that night, and also you're going to hear dispatch also. It's really interesting to hear that these live reports, because we can talk about it. We can talk about the evidence, but really it's good to hear it first person, and that's what we're going to do. And as they're talking about this craft, pay attention, because you can feel the excitement in all their voices. You can see that they're clearly, I think, in my opinion, genuinely dealing with something that they just can't explain, right? So I thought it was really awesome to hear them, to experience along with them going through this live as it happened to them that night. And before we play it, just to give you a bit of context, again, you're going to be hearing dispatch operator Roy Ann Rudolph. She's the one that started fielding calls first, and she's from the Liberty Town Parish Department, and she's going to be talking to multiple residents, multiple officers. She talks to the FAA, she talks to the Air Force, she talks to a lot of people as they're all calling in about the UFO. All right, and if you want to look at the area where the craft was that night, I'll also put the link in the show notes. So if you want to click on that while you're listening to the video, you can see exactly, because the officer starts calling it out, the streets that he's driving on, and then he'll drive to one end of the street, it'll jump to the other, he has to turn around and go back. It's trippy. But anyways, if you want to kind of, I guess, get more in depth in the experience, you can click on that, and it'll take you right to the street where the UFO was. All right, so feel free to scope that one out. And all right, without any more further delay, let's have a listen to this for a bit. And like I said, it's 50 minutes long. All right, so we can't play the whole thing. I'm gonna kind of jump around a little bit, but you get the point. All right, let's have a listen.
County Dispatch, may I help you?
Yeah, did you get any reports of any object in the air about 15 minutes ago?
Somebody called in, but I really don't know what that would be.
It was very strange.
Okay.
Looked like a back end of like one of them fighter planes, like the plane coming out the back.
Okay. Was it just like moving at a slow rate of speed?
It wasn't a slow rate, it was a fast rate, but it was coming down.
It was coming down?
Yeah.
Like straight down, or did an angle?
Like an angle.
At an angle?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't real big in the back.
Okay.
Plane.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll check with the air base in Vienna and see if they have any report of anything in the area.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Bye-bye. 996. 996. We have a report by CC. Actually, 2 calls in of a vehicle in the sky, unknown object above Sampson Drive. Have you noticed anything?
Really?
That's affirmative, sir.
What's the location?
The area of Sampson Drive.
Also south.
Sir, he just advised in the air, in the sky. He didn't advise direction.
998.
998, go ahead.
Did he give you a description of the object?
Public service, sir. I'll give you further.
Okay.
County dispatch.
Okay.
Bob, I swear to God, 4 calls in on an unidentified object over Liberty.
4 calls.
4 calls on an unidentified flying object.
Why not take a look? All right, let's check it out.
You want me to call the air base and see if there's anything in the area?
I'll take a look.
I swear to God. You want to hear the call?
Come out here and coach you.
You want to hear the call? Wait a minute. I'm going to let you hear the call because you think I'm lying.
I believe you.
No, I swear to God. Listen.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Listen to this one.
What's that?
My God. Unidentified flying object.
Here. Somebody called in, but I really don't know what that would be. Okay.
Look like a back end of like one of them fighter planes.
Okay. Just like moving in a slow.
Call the air base and see if they got.
I'm stroking the hell out of this guy. Was it moving in slower at a speed? Did it dip directly down? I'm going to start a friggin' panic. You guys got friggin' UFOs over there?
Yeah, ask them if they got any Fox in town.
Huh?
Ask them if Fox is in town.
If Doc is in town.
Fox.
Spock. Oh, you mean like Generations Star Trek thing? Smart ass. I'll tell them they're filming the sequel right here in Liberty. Okay.
All right, let's go.
You let me know. Oh, shit, if you get abducted, who am I going to call? OSP?
Toby up in.
He'll beam Toby up. They'd spit his ass so fast out of that friggin' I swear to God, this is our 4th or 5th call on it.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
993.
And any good?
Yeah, I'll be in the area in about just 30 seconds here. Is there one particular block it's going over, or what area of the Sampson Road or Drive?
Okay. To our knowledge, we've had 4 different calls, and this particular one came over Sampson.
Okay, different areas on Sampson itself.
Yeah, so they just said in the sky. That's all we have, in the sky.
Okay. Out in the area.
Out in the area, checking for an object in the sky. Copy at 30 after.
County dispatch, can I help you?
Yeah, dear, this is Stacy from 33. This is going to sound really dumb. I hear Liberty police are in an area that I got a call about a little bit ago. A woman called, claimed she saw something in the sky.
Yeah, you called me a little while ago.
Okay. I hear they're out there and they've gotten other calls.
Yeah, we finally got one on it somewhere.
What the woman told me was on Sampson Drive, like midway in the block, there's a vacant lot or something.
I know. Hold on, I'll let you talk to the Liberty dispatcher.
Okay.
County dispatch, may I help you?
Hi, dear. This is Stacy from 33.
Hi, Stacy, how are you?
I got one of your...
Did you really?
This woman was almost...
Serious. Sorry.
She saw something. She told me that the area was like Sampson Drive. There's a vacant field midway through the block.
They're telling me this too, but it's probably some weather balloon or something. You know what I mean? They're checking the area, but these UFO calls are getting out of hand.
I don't know what it is.
If it was, what the hell did they come to Liberty for? There's no intelligent life in Liberty. Come on now. We're telling everybody they're doing the sequel to what's that new Star Trek movie, Generations?
Bluish green, no noise.
No noise.
It was low flying and took off.
Oh, come on.
Fifth Avenue.
Are you serious? It's driving up Fifth Avenue Extension. Now, no, but... Oh, Christ.
Not driving. You're flying. It came down and just zooped over. It was a big, glowing object.
Well, we got 4 calls on it. The last guy said it was a fighter plane. So you tell me that I would do like a big news story on the water in Liberty and the effects on the people, because these people are clearly afflicted. But I appreciate the tip. I'll let them know some more on it. I dispatched it because God only knows my luck. It would land here, abduct some people, and I would be in trouble for not dispatching.
I was impressed because I heard the way you dispatched it, and I said she's trying real hard not to break.
And I'm working with the biggest jokers on the force tonight, so it's real hard not to.
Lucky.
Well, if we do run into a UFO, I swear I will call you personally. Okay? We'll give you an exclusive. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
County Dispatch.
This is Liberty Police.
Pardon me?
Am I calling about Liberty Police?
What you need, ma'am?
I wondered, did you had anyone call you about a strange plane or airplane or something in the air?
Yeah, they're checking it out.
Yeah, I just saw it on Sampson Road.
Where?
On Sampson Drive.
Okay.
I was coming down Sampson Drive. It was almost, it looked like it was, I don't know what it was. If it was a flying saucer or what it was. It wasn't an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
It was not an airplane. It was down awfully low.
Are you the same lady that called Channel 33?
No.
Okay. All right.
You must have had other calls in on it, huh?
Yeah, not many, a couple.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
What does it look like, ma'am?
It was like almost like an iridescent color. It was like a bluish purple, it was like a long streak. Like it almost was like it had fire coming out of the back of it.
Okay.
Maybe it was, I don't know what it could have been. I know it wasn't an airplane.
Okay, ma'am, I'll let them know.
All right.
All right, bye. 998 radio.
998, good.
Yeah, CC stopped me, said it appeared to be hovering about 50 feet off the ground, heading towards Bottom Hutch, and I'm going to be checking that area. It's supposed to be a large object with a lot of lights on it.
So I have another report on Sampson Drive, and also we've been advised by caller to the media. Media informed us it was a blue-green object hovering, no noise. It was in the area of 5th Avenue Extension.
I'll go that 5th Avenue Extension just came in.
This is just in now.
98.
And any good?
I see some lights. It's over 1 block from me. I'm going to try to get over there. I got to go down the street here. It's a large object, whatever it is.
996, are you in the area? 925, do you want to head over to that area?
Traffic.
Repeat your traffic.
Copy, I'm in around. Where do you see that, Toby? I just got a glimpse of it. I could see, I'm on Sampson right now. I could see it heading by 5th Avenue on the other side. I could see some lights up in that area. All right, 925 and 998. Should I set my phaser for stun? Yeah, go ahead and do that.
96, can you repeat your traffic?
Area 5th Avenue Extension.
The area 5th Avenue Extension.
Oh, same area.
996, you advised that you don't see anything?
I could see it was like a red pulsating light.
Okay, radio was advised to be blue and green.
I saw it was red. It was like a pulsating light. It looked like it was like to the bottom of an airplane, but it was real big.
Okay, we're trying to contact the airbase this time. Stand by.
See if there's a number for the tower.
Copy.
Maybe it's a flying Christmas. Yeah, Santa and his 8 tiny reindeer.
8 tiny green men.
Yeah, no more calls on this.
Last one in was when I advised last. Nobody's answering.
Yeah, Center Traffic Control Tower.
Yes, sir. This is Ryan from Liberty Township Police Department in Youngstown, Ohio.
Yeah.
We have a report of some flying object in our jurisdiction, in our area, above the Sampson Drive 5th Avenue Extension area. I could not give you any kind of traffic, direction that would help you know that area. Do you know of anything that should be in our airspace this time, close to the ground?
Right.
This is not a prank phone call, I swear. You can call me back and verify.
Look at the radar scope, and I go 60-mile diameter of Youngstown, and there is nothing out there.
Oh, shit.
Not even anything up high.
We've got
no
five accounts counts. 5 calls in on this.
Yeah.
Something's flying in our area and it's low to the ground. Would you be able to monitor like a Cessna or something with a light on it?
Well, I don't know if it was, do you mean visibly?
No, with the radar.
With the radar, it depends on how high it is and where they are. You know, if it's low radar coverage, so there isn't any. Okay,
now I have to go here and tell them something, and I don't want to say you couldn't find anything. Is there any, like, clause I might use that it might be like a personal aircraft or something that might be used at night or something?
Could be, you know, it could be anything. As far as, you know, any kind of helicopter traffic or anything down low, they don't have any kind of requirements to,
it made no noise.
Unless they're coming into the airport here.
Okay, so you have no communications with helicopters. It could be something like that?
Yeah, it could be a helicopter.
Okay.
Helicopters particularly flying low.
All right, I'm buying this 100%, but...
Are you, you know, is that location anywhere near a hospital?
We are close to a hospital, but the location is away from... It's as low as they said it was to the ground. It would be approximately 5 miles away from the hospital. We're closer to... That end of town is closer, like, out towards the Vienna line. Vienna Air Base area, and that's what I thought maybe it was related to.
Yeah, we haven't had anything go on, you know, nothing come from that direction.
Okay.
Half an hour ago.
Then I'm going to... Okay.
Guys just go out here northbound, climbed up high, and nothing's going on over there.
Okay, I am going to advise you of this. You could take it and file it in your G and in your garbage can if you want to. We've got accounts of this. Hold on 1 second for me. Okay, I've got 4 to 6 calls. Hold on 1 second. Smart ass. Okay, at this time, I've had 4 to 6 calls come in about a lit object, well-lit object, blue-green lights, hovering above the area of Sampson Drive and 5th Avenue. The object was low to the ground, did not make any noise, hovered there for some time, and then continued moving down the 5th Avenue Extension Road. My unit was out. He caught something he thought was red. Somebody described it as the end of a fighter pilot plane. I don't know what the hell kind of lines of continuum they're drawing here. I don't see any, but this is what I was advised of, so I wanted to call.
Okay, well, you know, we don't, I have a, if I was downstairs in the radar room, I would have a binder with some phone numbers. We have some 800 numbers as far as, you know, identified flying object reports and things like that. If you wish, you can call, you know, during business hours tomorrow.
Like I said, I don't know.
I don't see anything out there, nothing on the radar scope. I haven't seen anything, and, you know, we don't really do anything with the information.
Okay, I thought I'd pass along in case somebody was maybe flying without permission and, you know, night flying or something like that. I didn't know what was going on, but as long as I've done my job passing it along, and I don't want to sound like a crackpot, but that's what we've got in so far.
Well,
okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
998 radio.
998, good.
I'm going to quit. I don't see anything right now. What I saw, I have no idea what I saw. It just might have been just a light up in the sky. I don't know. Be in service.
Copy.
925,
good.
You may want to advise the surrounding jurisdictions to stop and interrogate if they come across us.
Copy. County Dispatch.
Hi. It's Adam Hutchins Road and Sampson Drive out in Liberty.
Yes, ma'am.
I wondered if I heard on the scanner where they were looking for that big blue.
Right, ma'am.
Yeah, did they find anything yet?
Not yet. The dispatcher from Liberty Townships right now, she's speaking with the air base to see if they have possibly something in the area at this time.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I heard on scanner. I thought it was one of the flying saucers since it wasn't very far from the ground.
Well, that's why she contacted them in case it might be
the news media in on that.
I beg your pardon?
Did they call the news on that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I thought I heard in the scanner that they did, but they think it might be from the air base.
Right. Like I said, the Liberty Dispatch is on the phone right now speaking with the air base.
And they think that's where it's from?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Bye-bye. We've contacted the FAA administration, and one, they've advised nothing on the radar scope within a 60-mile radius of Youngstown. They did advise they have no communication with any helicopters or any private-owned vehicles, air vehicles.
98, they're not aware of anything then, right?
Negative. He checked the radar and advised negative, nothing on the radar within 60-mile radius of the Youngstown area. Again, he did verify they have no contact with any helicopter or private-owned vehicles that might be in the area. We are continually getting calls on this, so.
What's the area?
Still Sampson, 5th Avenue.
We're right there. I don't see anything up in the air now. How long ago did these calls come in?
This just in within 2.
This is air radio. It's only visible to certain people with scanners. 98 radio.
Good.
If you get any more calls, try to get an address. I'd like to speak to the people making the call, please.
Copy.
98 radio.
98, good.
It'll be on
58.
98.
98, good.
Yeah, I'm okay now. I'll be back in service.
59.
I'll also be in service. The phases are disarmed at this time. Back to the UFO, I saw it.
Did you really?
But if it was red, I don't know. People saying it's blue. Right? I pull up to this.
County just saw it, too.
Down, he goes, hey, this thing's hovering right over Sodom Hutchins. It just came over my house, right? I said, are you serious? He goes, yeah, right? Then you tell me you got a report of it on 5th Avenue Extension, right?
Yeah.
I'm right by Patty Metzinger's house, and I looked towards 5th Avenue Extension. You could see a red glow up in the sky. It was huge. It was like huge.
See, but they're telling me blue-green because the media called. This woman was crying hysterically. She's like, oh, my God. And she's screaming, and they're like, oh, God. And they call me. And I'm laughing it off because I can't, I'm not going to cause a panic.
We don't be on dope or something. I see this red.
No, because Toby, I swear to God, we got 7 to 8 calls on this UFO.
We're doing, they're scanning us.
No, I'm telling you what, they were coming in at the same time. They were coming at the same time.
Well, anyway, I see this.
And the county saw it. Somebody from the county saw it.
Really?
I think Pete Lusick saw it because he came across his channel and he goes, you see that big fucking thing in the sky with the lights? And first we thought they were making fun of us, but they went to another channel to do it because they didn't want to be on their main.
Well, to me, I saw this big red. It was glowing in the sky.
Well, that's what the guy said. He said it looked like fighter pilot lights in the back of the tail of a bomber.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
And I said, well, maybe it's a weather balloon. Well, I called up, and Toby, I swear to you, I was laughing it off, and I thought, well, he's going to say weather balloon or something, but he says, no, I don't. He goes, we have nothing. Because we have, and he's trying to give me numbers to report it, and I'm saying, no. I don't want any numbers. He's going, well, he goes, I don't have anything at a 16-mile radius of Youngstown. He goes, I'm looking at the radar right now.
Well, this thing wasn't more than about 50 feet off the ground.
Well, that's what I told him. I said, this is low to the ground. I said, you might not pick it up. I said, he goes, well, maybe it's a helicopter. I said, well, I heard from 4 people. Something that low to the ground would be making a hell of a noise.
This thing wasn't making no noise.
I know.
Because I rolled down, when I saw the glow, I rolled down my window. I didn't hear a sound. The only sound I heard was my car.
Well, was it moving or was it just?
Yeah, it was glowing. It was moving. You could see it like up in the air, glowing and getting further away from me. I had to go all the way down Overbrook and cut over to get on 5th Avenue. As soon as I turned on 5th Avenue, I didn't see it.
Did Bob see it?
No.
Did Steve see it?
No. I'm the only one that saw it.
There was about 10 other people in Liberty who were just swearing up and down they saw a UFO.
The media probably have something.
Oh, they'll have a ball with it because, they had called already.
Really? What did they say? Did you guys locate anything?
Yeah, well, they're like, the people are serious. They're very upset. And I'm like, well, it's got to be a weather balloon or something. And I knew it wasn't a weather balloon because, FAA would know about it.
The prosecutor said it was green and blue lights?
Well, no. The media said it was green and blue lights. I had a man who said it was he said the thing is, it's got huge and it doesn't make any noise.
Yep, that's what I saw.
And I said, could it be like a weather balloon? He goes, no. He goes, these lights are incredibly bright. And he goes, and this thing's just hovering. It's not moving. And I said, well, maybe it's a private plane or something.
Now, this thing, whatever it was, lit up, literally lit up. You could stand, if you were underneath it, you could see it would be like daylight, but red light.
Well, I logged it. I know this is coming back up. I know everybody and their brother's going to be calling tomorrow. And I'm like, I logged it.
I saw it. Oh, my God.
No, I didn't log you saw it.
They're going to be calling.
But you know what? They'll be pulling that tape. We're all going to get our asses shucked. You watch federal government will come on here and go, okay, we're going, little green men, Santa Claus, flying Christmas tree, all this shit on the channel. We're all going to get our asses in a grinder. Maybe I want So, I don't know. If it was a UFO, it's logged, But, you saw it. If you saw it. Well, what did you think it was? What did you really think it was?
I don't know. I Didn't you hear me? I came across and said, whatever it is, it's big.
But you know what? I know you play. You know what I mean? I know you joke around. That's what I said.
wasn't joking. I was not joking.
For a minute, it didn't sound like you were. I mean, you were laughing, and then all of a sudden you weren't laughing. And I thought, well, maybe he's trying to make me, like, think there's really this UFO there. And I was like, oh.
No, I wasn't joking. I saw the light. I saw a large red light up the tall place.
Hold on 1 second. Howling guy, you think I'm a UFO expert? He wants to talk to me. You want me to let you go?
Yeah, all right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, sweetheart. Take care. Bye-bye. County Dispatch, may I help you?
Yeah, this is Howland 433.
Hey, 433.
How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Liberty was spotting earlier.
Oh, cut it out.
No, I'm serious. We've been watching it for about 10 minutes now.
Your ass.
No, I'm serious.
Man.
Go straight out your door.
Hold on, Rick.
Henhide.
Where is it at?
I'm on Henhide, okay?
Come get me. I want to go see this. Is it outside? Can I, like, see it from here?
Oh, you'll see it. I
Here,
can't
plug
believe
into
it.
me. All right, I'm going to go out and look at it now.
All right, if you're up high enough, it's straight east of you.
It's east of me?
Straight east of you. Look straight up.
Which way do I go when I... Okay, up.
You know where Kane Drive is across from the hospital?
Plug in for me. I'm going to go out. Liberty. Get Howland Liberty. I'm going to run out. Stay on the phone.
Okay.
Okay, I'm coming back. I'll tell you if I see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Mikey, do you got a copy or see it? Yeah, that thing has not moved in 10 minutes that I've been watching it. Come up on Henhide and start south off of King's Grave if you're on Henhide. Come on down, you'll see me parked. I've been watching this thing through my binoculars. I can't quite make it out. It changes colors from white to red to green. You know, those are colors of planes, but this sucker has not moved. It hasn't gone any direction since I've been watching it. It's a good 10 minutes. It's an alien. It's an alien. Yeah, it's an alien, all right. Prove it. Hello.
She went outside. She was back in a minute.
Okay. I couldn't believe it. I was just putting by my house, and I looked over, you know, laughingly thinking, because we had one 2 weeks ago. And I looked over, and I said, oh, here's a plane coming in to land, you know, because I'm used to seeing those. This thing has not moved in 10 minutes. And it's too bright and too low, and it changes colors to be a star.
It's an alien that came down to steal all our Christmas presents.
Yeah, I wish. Hang on
Maybe
a
it's
second.
Santa Claus.
Go ahead, 429. Where you at? You see my car down on Henhide, about half to a quarter of a mile, somewhere in there, down from King's Grave? Okay, you get a pretty good view out here on King's Grave.
All right, well, that's as far as I can go on this one. I want to play the whole thing for you because it's just packed with full of, you know, this conversation, this banter between these police officers who are just astonished by what they've seen, you know. So you can hear from their voice and in the video that it's pretty obvious that something was there that night, right? I mean, as the lady mentioned, there were about 10 calls that came in a matter of minutes. And this was on the first night. So mind you, if you listen to the whole tape, there's 2 different nights. And then if you pay attention to what one of the officers say, in his township, they had something like this happen 2 weeks ago. All right? It just wasn't as, it wasn't as significant as this one. But, and you know, all the reports were fairly similar. The only thing that changed a little was the color that the craft was putting off. Some were saying iridescent, some were saying blue, some say blue-green. Officer Meloro was saying a red light. The officers that were down on Henhide were saying red also, but that it would change colors like a Christmas tree. And then you heard the first officer say, you know, the very first, you know, that was Meloro who said that it was a large red light that basically would make everything look like it was daylight, only like if it was red during the day. So whatever the case, I mean, I don't think all these people decided to get together and make up a story like this, you know, to make up a story about a UFO that night. I find that hard to believe. So the question is, what was it? And that's a question that we're all left to now, all these years later, from 1994 all the way until now. Still, nobody can explain it. There's been no press release, and to be honest with you, I don't even think this was recorded in the FBI files. It may be. I mean, I don't know, but from what I've seen on there, when I go on their website and check, random cases, I've never seen this on there. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to transition over into the theories portion now, in hopes that we can uncover what it is, or at least find out what the leading theories are. Hang on, we'll be right back. All right. So, the leading theory in the case of the Trumbull County incident is that the craft was indeed an actual UFO of extraterrestrial origin. All right. If you listen to the whole tape, you're going to hear many of the officers say that it's an alien. Now, some are saying it jokingly, but in others you can hear that they're pretty serious about what they're saying. Those that are familiar with the case in the field, in ufology field, also confirmed that this was highly likely to be a factual sighting. All right. Most of the locals and people close to the case agree that it was, a UFO based on its size, the fact that it was silent, that it was that was hovering for, minutes, 10, 30 minutes at a time, not moving, the way that it accelerated rapidly and making the sharp direction changes. It didn't show up on radio. I mean, the noise factor is the main thing. And then also that the power outage and the bright focused light that it projected that was able to basically knock out, basically incapacitate cars, really. So these are the characteristics that, point to an actual UFO sighting. So the people in the town are basically in agreement of what they seen. The officers felt like it was something extraordinary, and so a lot of people from the case agree also that it's an actual sighting, or at least exceeds something that exceeds the known capabilities of human technology. That is, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt, because from what we know these days, we know that it's pretty common knowledge that the government withholds technology from us. And I don't want to go real deep into this, because this can be a whole other show on its own. But the idea, or the theory is that whenever we get new technology, like say when the iPhone came out, or when the iPads came out, or LCD displays, crystal display screens and all that stuff, they say whenever something like that comes out, that the government already had the capabilities, or they had the product actually made at least 15 to 20 years before it was put to market. All right. That's the theory. So if this was 94, so basically they would have been advanced as what we are today. All right. And if you look at today's time, today, it would be like, 2040 or 2050, the technology they have right now. All right. Because they always keep us 15 to 20 years in behind them. All right. So that's why I'm saying you got to take it with a grain of salt, because, I mean, it could have been something that was reverse engineered. There's been a lot of whistleblowers that came out and said that we do have crafts. They have the ability to reverse engineer them. They have reverse engineered them, and they use them to go on test flights. And they've also used them in PSYOPs to make people think that they were being abducted. There's been a lot of claims thrown around like that from these whistleblowers. This is kind of getting into a little bit of my personal theory, so I'll stop right there. But the leading theory of this case of the Trumbull County UFO incident, the popular opinion is, at least, that it was an actual UFO, or of extraterrestrial origins. All right. Now, let's hear the rest of them, and then I'll give you my theory. But when we're done, you should have all the knowledge you need to make your own assumption. All right. So now, with that statement, that brings the question: what if the government or military, or maybe a private-owned tech company, had the technology that is possible of achieving all these characteristics that we mentioned. All right. If they had it, would they even tell us about it? Right. And that brings us to our next theory, that the craft was an experimental craft designed by humans. All right. So in ufology, for the longest, the theory has existed for a while. And the first time it was brought up was like in the 40s. All right. But it still remains to this day. And this kind of ties into a little bit what I was saying. So I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself. But it's worth noting that there are quite a few military establishments surrounding the area where the craft happened to be that night. All right. The lady mentioned that there was a airplane. There was a hangar. There was a pretty large airport. There was another small airfield, not exactly in that township, but real close by. And there were a few military bases. So I guess you could say that the opportunity would have been there for this tech company, this privately owned company, or maybe possibly even the Air Force, to basically have a place to hide the craft, but also be able to take it on a test flight somehow. However, in this case, it would seem unusual for such a test to take place over such a populated area, even after I'm sure they had to have been monitoring the calls or scanners just like the citizens were. But to fly over such an overpopulated area and then continue as multiple law enforcement agencies were actively observing and responding to it. So if it was a experimental craft, maybe they thought they had some kind of cloaking device. Maybe it wasn't working, or I don't know. Hell, maybe they just wanted people to see them and just to see how they would react. But that's the next theory, besides it being an actual UFO. So with the next theory, it would be that it was a experimental craft from either a military sector or from the private tech military weapons sector. All right. With that, let's move on, and let's see. Our last theory is going to be, before we get into our final segment, and it's going to be, okay, so again, this one here is pretty common knowledge in the UFO world. All right. And it's called misidentification. They love to throw that word around. You misidentified, blah, blah, blah. All right. Skeptics often propose that the craft was not a physical object at all. No, you were seeing things, but rather it was some sort of optical illusion or misinterpretation of a known phenomena, i.e., or for example, swamp gas. Right? They love to throw that around. Well, the swamp gas, natural gas was in the air and it mixed with the atmosphere, and that created a northern lights effects or something like that. Whatever they like to say, I don't know. I don't really listen to that kind of stuff, but still, you've heard it before. For instance, they like to suggest that the possibility of an unconventional atmospheric event, all right, a series of coincidental equipment failures, or possibly that the bright light was misidentified as a star or a planet. Now, if you listen to the scanner audio when Roy Ann Rudolph is talking to the FAA rep, you can actually hear him allude to this when she asked him what he thought it could be if it wasn't a helicopter or a plane. All right, so it almost sounded like a little bit that it was kind of like, she was kind of pushing him for a response. She said, I don't want to go back to them with nothing. And it was almost like a programmed response that he had, because he fired back with it so quick. He didn't really even have time to think about it long before he blurted out a comet or a planet. I guess, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying the guy was in on, this whole thing or not, but it just seems like that's a very common answer that people have. And you can think really like a lot of the people that try to debunk these cases, because that's one of the main answers that they give. It was either a comet or a planet or a shooting star or something like that. All right. Still, I don't know how many people subscribe to this theory, but me personally, I don't. In this case, which I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that, but on this case particularly, I don't really like this one a lot for this case. All right. For everyone who called in and said the craft was about 50 feet in the air, All right. 50 feet in the air is not very high. Okay. So, to give you a little bit of a scale here, a 2-story house from floor to roof is just about 35 feet. All right. From the ground all the way up to the highest peak, roughly 35 feet. All right. So just picture another single story on top of that. And that would be about as high as they say the UFO was. All right. So you look at a regular standard 2-story house. And if you were to imagine another single floor on top of it, that's it. Like I said, not very high at all. That's not helicopter height. Hell, that's barely treetop height. I mean, if there would have been tree coverage in the area, the thing probably would have ran into it if it was only 50 feet in the air. So anyways, like I was saying, in my opinion on this one, this theory about it being a planet or a star, not very probable. All right. So with that being said, that brings us to our final segment. And it's time for us to share our perspective with all of you. All right. So the moment you've been waiting for. In the case of the Trumbull County UFO incident, I'm going to say, and this is just my opinion, you don't have to believe me, but what I feel like, I feel it in my bones, that for certain, with all certainty in this case contained a real UFO. There you go. And I'll explain why, of course. So, here's the obvious reason. There's no way anything that we had at that time could have mimicked what people saw that night. Or what Officer Meloro said. Now, his video is in the show notes. It wasn't part of that one. That's why you didn't hear him. But his personal video is in the show notes. And if you listen to that Disclosure 2.0 by Dr. Greer, if you watch the whole thing, there was a soldier who was working like live fire ranges, and he was partnered, or his unit or whatever, the military at that time was partnered with Raytheon, a company that did weapons, or I guess, you know, they build weapons for the U.S. government. But he said that he saw this craft out there that night, and he kind of got scolded for speaking on it, right? And he goes on to describe, and I think I told you about this the last UFO episode, but he goes on to describe an event where him and his wife were driving. All of a sudden, something appears. You know, they're in Nevada, so he's driving through the desert. It's pitch black. All of a sudden, his car dies out. He gets out of his car, goes to the front of the hood, opens it up, goes to check what's going on, and all of a sudden, a big old bright light just appears over him. Now he says teleported, but the size that he described it really matches up with Toby Meloro's story, with the way that it just showed up and the way how bright it was, and it was the size of a football field. If you go listen to that Disclosure 2.0, and I think he's like the third guy that speaks that night, but listen to that description that he's got, and then come back and listen to this episode, and you're gonna see that they're exactly the same. All right, very, very close. If it were an experimental craft, again, why would they drive it out in the open like that? Or why would it be so low to the ground? Now this here reminds me of the Cash Landrum UFO incident that happened right here in Houston. All right, now that sucker was again over a populated area. It was flying over the Dayton Crosby area, which is very close to me. I even went and looked at the site where it was the other day because I was just curious. And it was in the middle of the woods, and the lady Vicky Landrum said that object was glowing. It was large, like diamond shaped. She said it was up in the sky, but it wasn't no more than like 20 or 30 feet. It was like treetop level, so which is only like 20 or 30 feet. And so that thing was so close to them that they all got radiation poisoning, because it was like, shit, man, it was like just radiating them, like as it hovered above them. It got so hot that when her passenger, touched the dashboard, her hand melted into the dashboard because it was just melting everything. Like cars in those days. This was the 70s, so cars in those days. Remember, it had, I don't know if you remember, but it had that old vinyl dashboard with the little holes in it. And so it just got so hot that it melted. But anyways, like that one right there, it makes no tactical sense to have these kind of crafts if you're just going to fly them over populated areas like that. And I don't know, that strikes me as something of somebody who was purposefully driving this vehicle like that would do, unless they didn't know what they were doing and they were just screwing it up that night. I don't know. Very, very, I doubt that very much though. And so in my opinion, that eliminates that from being a possibility. And to have something like this happen and basically damn near park right in the middle of a small town, Ohio, like I said, that is really what eliminates it being an experimental craft for me, and which also helps me believe more that it was an actual UFO. All right, and here's my next point. All right, so with the information that has recently come out at the time of the preparation for this show, with all these congressional hearings and stuff, it's becoming more aware, especially with the alien mummy bodies that were found in Peru, that UFOs exist. All right, and so do the those what did Grush call them, the non-human biologics, that they exist. I think we can all agree on that one these days, right? Based off the evidence that we had, based off the congressional hearings and all the whistleblowers. So non-human biologics is basically a fancy word for aliens, if you didn't know. But to circle back to that Stephen Greer's disclosure video that came out not too long ago, like I said, there was a lot of similarities between that soldier that was driving through the desert and Officer Morello's car. And I implore you, listen to Officer Morello's video on YouTube. It's going to be in the show notes, because I mean that right there is just really good. And if you compare the two, from the one on Dr. David Greer's and Officer Morello's, you're going to see that they're almost completely spot on. And I don't know, hopefully we have more. It's 2024 is supposed to be a big year for us in what's going to come to light. All right, there's a lot of talk, especially from a lot of people that are very close to the situation, kind of at the forefront, leading the charge, if you will, that we're going to have answers very soon. One prominent ufologist said as early as 2025. Really, I haven't heard anybody say past that. For some reason, I had 2030 in my head, but nobody has really said that. People said within the next 2 years. So one said 2025, but two other ones, I can't really remember their names. I'm not even going to try to, but two other ones said 2024, and this was last year, which was really surprising to me. I was like, damn, that soon? But yeah, apparently it's all about to come clean about, who's got the down crafts that have been reverse engineered, who's heading this initiative. There's going to be oversight on what they have, what all they know, and there's going to be a lot more hearings, basically. And then also there's going to be a lot more revealed about what they found that was actually driving these crafts. Because there's been a lot of people that say, yeah, we have bodies. We have those. They're not in the government's possession because the government don't want that. They don't want them in their possession. If you have something like that, I mean, obviously they feel like it needs to be hid, but they don't want to be the ones to hide it, because whenever the shit hits the fan and stuff comes to light, they don't want to be the ones held responsible for that. So they hire a private company. The private company stashes it. They have less red tape to go through. They're a private entity. They can do whatever they want in some regard. And so it's a lot easier for them to hide these things. And so if they get caught, they pass the buck to them. But in the meantime, these private companies who are housing these things are getting paid shitloads of money, getting tons of government contracts, and just making filthy, dirty, just all kinds of bank, you know what I mean? But the dirty way, they're keeping it from the people, from scientists and stuff that can use this to end world hunger, to end the energy crisis, all kinds of stuff. But anyways, that's just my opinion on this case. And so, of course, as always, as we finish every episode, or even at the beginning, I tell you most of the time that I advise you, any of you who find this case interesting, to continue to do your own research and find out what you're comfortable believing. All right? Don't let my word be the last on this case. And really, it's really important for you, especially on this one, to do your research on this one, because this Trumbull County UFO incident was tied in. Remember how I told you that the officer from another township was saying 2 weeks earlier he was having the same experience in his? Well, weeks before that, there was sightings going on heavily in the Great Lakes area, all right above Chicago and all that stuff. All right, fast forward 2 weeks after Trumbull County, people were seeing hella sightings in upstate New York. All right, so if you examine all these cases together, it's like something was making its way from Chicago, the Great Lakes, Michigan area, and it was just headed east to New York, possibly out into the Atlantic somewhere, or probably headed to Alaska, Antarctica, where we all know they all hang out at. So, so for real, do your own research on this one. Continue to dive deep, and you won't regret it, because this case is super interesting, and it gets you closer to understanding and knowing where we are in the whole grand scheme of things when it comes down to knowing if UFOs exist or not, right? So, after you've done your own research, if you want to share what you think about the Trumbull County UFO incident, or maybe you have some close connections to that night, and you hear this episode, feel free to reach out to me on social media or send me an email. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have close connections to that case, if you were an officer over there, or you were on dispatch that night and you want to talk, you want to get on the show, let me know, and we can sit down and make an episode, and you can share your story or what you think about what happened that night in Trumbull County, Ohio. If you don't do the social media thing, you want to send me an email, I don't blame you. You can send me that email to info@spacecityxfiles.com. Go ahead and send it there. I promise you I'll get back to you. I will not leave you hanging. All right, that's going to do it for this one. And before we leave you, also, if you enjoyed today's episode, we're going to remind you one more time to please take a few minutes at the conclusion to leave us just a short written review. Just say, man, Rick, appreciate the information. I appreciate your hard work. We love Space City X-Files. And then just hit the thumbs up, and that'll be great. That's all it takes, just a few lines. And what that's going to do is that's going to put us at the top of these algorithms. These algorithms are going to be forced to put us in front of different crowds. It's going to force to up our impressions. And what that's going to do is going to put our voice out there to more people that are interested in UFOs, cryptids, shit, man. We cover all kinds of stuff. So conspiracies. We're going to be getting into some more stuff here coming up around March. We're going to be diving into a little bit. We're not going to get religious, but we're going to be diving into some spirituality aspects of the whole thing too. Maybe some magic. We're going to be looking into all that stuff, because it really all plays into, well, I'm not going to go there, but a lot of it's tied in together. So So when you give us those reviews, you give us that feedback, it helps us get out there. All right, and also your feedback helps us refine our craft. You know what I mean? So you don't feel like don't be pressured into having to think that you have to write us a good review. If there's something that we're doing wrong, if it pissed you off, if we suck, just get on there and just say, man, y'all suck. You need to do better, and this is how you can do it, right? You ain't gonna hurt our feelings. We got thick skin. We're all grown-ups here, and we want to get better, right? So just go on and drop us that line, and then if you can't do the line, hit the 5 stars. If you can't do the 5 stars, as always, check us out on social media. They're all gonna be listed up there. Pick your favorite episode. It don't even have to be this one. Pick your favorite episode. Hit share to your feed, and that's it. Done deal. All right. On that note, before we leave, we're going to let you know a little bit about next week's episode. On January the 30th, we're going to be going over the Anthill Kids cult. That one right there is a little bit of a tough one. So we're hopping out of the world of UFO and conspiracy, and we're looking at the some real shit that goes on in society that it's dark, you know what I mean? The Anthill Kids cult is exactly what it sounds like. It was some shithead that, this one enthusiastic shithead that got people to believe in him, formed a group, moved them out into the wilderness, and just a lot of bad things happened. But this one here, I'm not saying it's a happy ending, but I'll just tell you that justice was served, all right? And it was served in a good way. All right, so you don't want to miss this one. And we're not telling this story to try to glorify this guy or to try to glorify violence. But when we talk about it, it really helps us, you know, because somebody said, that couldn't happen to me. That couldn't happen to me. I would never be in a cult. But, you know, these people didn't think they were in a cult either. You know, it wasn't until the worst of the worst was happening to them that they found out. You know what I'm saying? And finally they got the courage to act. So maybe it can help somebody in that regard, or maybe there's somebody who knows that they're being manipulated and they don't have the courage. Maybe this can give, if they're listening to this episode, maybe it can give the courage to act. You know what I'm saying? But we hope to bring awareness of it, that this shit does happen. It's still happening. And the more we talk about it, the more we make all the signs of maybe somebody is trying to control you or manipulate you. The more we bring awareness to that, the more people can stay away from it, and the more people are aware of it and stay away from it, then hopefully we can get rid of it one day completely. All right. So with that being said, go ahead and check us out next week if you're into that type of stuff. If not, then we'll have something for you one week. All right. If your deal's not next week, don't worry about it. Well, the next week will be. With that being said, it's going to wrap it up for today's episode. And I hope you'll join us again next week for another thought-provoking episode. For the meantime, this is Rick on behalf of the Space City X-Files podcast signing off. Until we meet again, keep questioning, keep listening, and keep exploring. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Space City X-Files. Goodbye.